Yeah, I thought Spence did some good stuff. He put us in position there. Obviously there's highs and lows as you go through a game, but I love the way he approached it, the mindset he played with, and he gave us a chance.
Kellen Moore, after Saints drop his debut as the New Orleans Saints head coach, 20-13 to Arizona. Jeff Duncan's good enough to join us. NOLA.com, the Times-Picayune. You get him on X at @JeffDuncan_. Thanks for the time, man. How are you?
Doing good, man. How you doing, buddy?
Doing really well. Okay, Spencer Rattler's not his debut. It's his 7th start. Still yet to win a game, but his debut as the full-time starter. What did you think?
Yeah, I came away probably a little more encouraged than discouraged. I thought he showed a little more, I think, discipline and poise than I saw from him a year ago, and I think that's probably to be expected considering he was playing with much better players around him, and he's had a year in the offseason under his belt. And I think we have to credit, Kellen Moore and the coaching staff with kind of, I think, driving that point home with him that he doesn't have to play hero ball. I think that's when Rattler gets in trouble. But at some point, Matt, we all know he's going to have to try and make plays downfield. He's going to have to. That's the litmus test every quarterback in the NFL. You got to, at some point, make a play when you have to make it. And I thought yesterday he showed some of that potential in leading that drive at the end of the game and almost came up with a miraculous game-tying catch there at the end. So I thought we saw progress in him, but we got to see a lot more if this team's going to get over the hump.
So then let me ask you about the other debut, which was Kellen Moore. You've seen a lot of these head coaching debuts in your time covering the New Orleans Saints. What were you looking for with Kellen Moore on Sunday? How did it maybe match or not live up to what you thought?
Well, I thought he had a very creative game plan and played to the strengths of this offense as well as he could. I kept them in the game. I mean, let's face it, Matt, this is, by most analyst standards, the least talented roster in the NFL. I think it's definitely in the bottom 5. It's certainly one of the worst I've seen the Saints roll out in the last 10, 15 years. So they're going to be outmanned most games. They're going to have a very clean game plan. Their margin for error is very thin, and I think he tried to reduce as much of those variables as he could, reduce the risk, try to stay in the game in the fourth quarter, hopefully you make a play. They kind of played that well. I mean, the blocked field goal kept them in it, but that's only going to go so far. Now the league, that element of surprise that they had week 1 is going to be reduced next week, and it's going to keep getting reduced, and you're going to have to evolve. And I think we're going to learn a lot about Kellen Moore and the staff as the season goes on. We saw last year Clint Kubiak start like a house on fire in the first 2 weeks. The league got tape on him. I know they had some injuries, but I think a lot of it had to do with the league understanding what the Saints were doing, and Kubiak didn't really evolve much. And I think we're going to find out a lot about Kellen Moore in that regard as well as the season goes on as a play caller.
Jeff, I also kind of found it interesting listening to a lot of the players post-game who were kind of encouraged by maybe how close they lost. I'm treading carefully with the way to say it, but what was your feeling post-game locker room, the just being around the vibe of the team?
Yeah, no, you're right. They definitely like Kellen Moore. I think they like that his staff is young, almost a millennial head coach, Matt. I mean, they practice late in the day because Kellen Moore doesn't get up early. He's like a typical millennial. They've had very light practices. I mean, I've never seen a training camp as light as this one in my entire 26 years covering the NFL. And ask any former player, Deuce McAllister, Bobby Abe, anybody that's there, it's night and day compared to even what Dennis Allen ran. So, of course, the player's going to like that, right? I mean,
Sure.
we would all like that. But at some point, there's a toughness element that has to be instilled. And I'm in the back of my mind, I'm waiting to see if that crops up this year because of how light things have been. And one thing I glossed over a little bit, and I probably shouldn't have, was, look, they can't commit 16 penalties, 13 called, 3 declined, a lot of them procedural, trying to do a little too much with the tempo, maybe a little too soon. That's a rookie head coaching mistake, and they paid the price for that.
This is completely speculative. Jeff Duncan's our guest, so admittedly, completely speculative. But being around this team through camp and the players liking the coach and all this stuff, if this, like, let's say hypothetically, Jeff, they lose to San Francisco, they're a touchdown underdog, and then they have back-to-back road games where they're going to be a decided underdog. Let's say they start 0-4. How do you think, or do you think, that mood or vibe changes?
Yeah, look, I mean, winning cures everything. Ultimately, these are professional athletes, and they want to win. They want to be successful. It means money into their pocketbook. It means a part of their legacy. You've got to prove it on the field. And, every coach is different. And this is the way the NFL is going, frankly. The Sean Paytons of the world are really anomalies in this day and age. There's not very many of those old guard guys. It's mainly the Matt LaFleurs, Mike McDaniels, these younger head coaches are taking over the league. So I think Kellen Moore fits into that, but I'm interested to see how the team responds if this thing goes south mid-season, because at some point you've got to have success to get buy-in and credibility. And I think that's what he's tried to do with this offseason, because the team has been losing. There's been a lot of kind of bad vibes in the locker room. I think he's tried to win over the veterans, and he's got that right now. Now I think they have to see some results.
Give me a reason, Jeff, based on one game, small sample size, but what you saw on Sunday to be optimistic moving forward.
Well, I thought both lines played better than we thought. I mean, I know there were some issues with penalties on the offensive line, but we saw some pass protection, strengths, I thought. They ran the ball for 4.9 yards a carry offensively. And defensively, I think they ended up with 5 sacks on a very mobile quarterback without their best pass rusher in Chase Young, who's probably going to be back this week. So there's signs of encouragement. The way I've framed this season, Matt, is there's really no middle class on this team. It's a top veteran-laden starting unit that I think can be competitive, just like they were yesterday with most teams in the NFL. But they cannot. There's no margin for error. They've got 10 rookies on the team, so the experience and talent drops off pretty quickly once you get past the starting units. So if they can stay healthy, and I know they've already suffered some more injuries, but if they can stay healthy, I think they can be competitive and maybe start winning some of these close games. They're now 5-13 the last 2+ years in one-score games. I mean, you got to turn those around at some point, or you become a loser's mentality, and I think that's starting to infect this team.
You think the loser's mentality is
yes.
I
think you find ways to lose when winning's a habit and losing's a habit. And I compare a lot of times. This may be a bad analogy, but it's an old horse racing analogy. When you have a class horse, a Kentucky Derby level horse, and they're running in a race against a low-level claimer, they're going to run lots of times just hard enough to stay ahead and win. At the wire, they may win by a length, and it looks like it's a close race, but anybody will tell you in horse racing that other horse was never going by the Kentucky Derby horse, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think happens in the Saints a lot. They lose these games, and you look at the final score, and you're like, oh, they lost by 7 or 8. They were right there. We saw that last year, but the entire game, they're behind. They're not in control of the game. Yesterday, Arizona was in control of that game. Sean Payton talks about that a lot. You get control of the game, and then you manage it. And they managed that last 2 minutes to where the Saints didn't have any time to really score. They had a few chances, but it was difficult. That's what's happened a lot to these teams, and I think they're further away than some of these scores indicate.
What did you think of the uniforms?
Oh, God. Were they awful or what? It's the worst I've ever seen. Who's thinking that? And I think they've lost now all 5 games of those ugly black helmets.
They've never won a game in the black helmets. But Jeff, like, the thing that is stunning to me are the people that are defending these uniforms. My wife, who does not care a lick about sports, she loves the Chiefs because of Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. Like yesterday during the Saints game, she was literally hot gluing rhinestones onto red boots. She was gluing like an 87 onto some red boots. Like but doesn't, you know what I mean? Like she didn't give a rip. She's like, why are the Saints wearing beige? That was her question. I'm like, they're wearing softball pants, beige jerseys, and ugly black helmets. I don't know what they're doing.
I just had a conversation, Matt, a little while ago with a Saints source, and he was talking about how awful they were too, a guy in the building.
Yeah.
And we were talking about the old school Saints jerseys back in the early days when they had these beautiful kind of coppery gold, real gold colored helmets and numerals and jersey pants. I don't understand why the NFL, because this is all an NFL level decision. It's beyond the Saints. I don't understand why the NFL can't get that right, get that gold color back. I'm sure it has to do with optics and television and merchandise sales and all about money, but it's awful. That beige is the worst. And I am pleased to announce that they will not have those beige end zones next week for the 49ers.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's progress.
Not going to have those, thank God. I mean, that beige color in the end zone, awful.
Jeff, the old gold, like, they have that in the Color Rush uniforms. Like,
right.
You can do
exactly,
it.
that color.
That color. Like,
yes,
match it to the helmet. I've been screaming about this. It's not hard. Match it to the helmet. What are you doing? Anyway, all right, last thing. You mentioned the injuries, and the one today is Julian Blackmon, who it looks like they've lost for the season. Any idea what they do at safety?
I think they'll try and get a veteran in there. I don't think they want to trust this Sanker back there. Now, this was the position, Matt, that going into camp they were worried about when they still thought Tyrann Mathieu was going to be playing. They were worried about it before that. So I can imagine there's alarms going off on Airline Drive right now because Blackmon has been a pleasant surprise. But I have to say, there's people in the league that were like, I don't know if he'll hold up the whole year. When the Saints signed him, they were worried about his shoulder, and look what happened. So this is kind of where they're at, Matt. I keep going back to this. Reminds me so much of pre-Breeze Peyton era, where you're taking chances on guys. You can't get Keenan Allen to come in. He doesn't want to come play with the uncertain quarterback situation, a transition rebuilding team. You can't get Noah Fant to come here. You try and overpay him. You can't get him. You have to go out and make a trade for Devon Bailey. You have to overpay for that. This is where they're at. I mean, they were the opposite of this when Breeze and Peyton were here. They were getting guys for less than market rate because they all wanted to come here. It's kind of a depressing time, I think, if you're a Saints fan.
He's on Twitter, X, at Jeff Duncan _ You can read him at NOLA.com /Picayune. Always appreciate a few minutes, man. Thank you.
All right, Matt. Great talking to you, buddy. Take care.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.